Who would have thought that dolphins sleep with one eye open? Yes, it's true. Dolphins have a unique ability to shut down half of their brain, while the other half remains active. This allows them to rest while staying alert for predators and maintaining control over their breathing. Imagine being able to sleep while still ready to wake up at any moment. This evolutionary trick helps dolphins survive in the ocean. Is it possible? Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Sea otters are one of the most adorable animals in the ocean, and they have a heartwarming habit of holding hands while they sleep. This behavior isn't just cute. It serves a practical purpose, preventing them from drifting apart in ocean currents. By holding on to each other, they form small floating rafts, demonstrating their strong social bonds and clever ways to stay together in the ever-moving sea. Can you imagine that some flowers eat mice? This isn't science fiction, it's reality. There are carnivorous plants such as the nepenthes or pitcher plants that can trap and digest not only insects but also small animals like mice. These plants secrete sweet nectar to lure their prey, and once the animal falls into the pitcher, it can't escape. The plant world is far more cunning and mysterious than it seems. Can you believe that Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world combined? Yes, it's true. Canada alone has more lakes than all other countries in the world combined. About 60% of all freshwater lakes on the planet are located in this country. From small, crystal-clear ponds to giant lakes like Lake Superior, Canada is famous for its water resources. The variety of lakes makes Canada an ideal destination for nature lovers, water sports enthusiasts, and fishermen. Impressive, isn't it? If you're planning a trip, don't forget to include a visit to one of these unique natural wonders. How about the longest word with just one vowel? Did you know that the word strengths is the longest word in the English language with only one vowel? It's fascinating, as this word is not only powerful in meaning, but also unique in its structure. It proves that even the simplest words can be incredibly complex when looked at from a different perspective. Next time you use this word, pay attention to its uniqueness. It's a small linguistic puzzle. Why are honey mushrooms considered the largest living organisms on the planet? In the forests of Oregon, there is one of the largest organisms on Earth, the honey fungus, Armillaria ostoyae. This fungus covers an area of over 9 square kilometers and has been growing for thousands of years. Underground, it forms giant mycelial networks that connect trees and other plants. Above ground, it may look like just a few mushrooms, but beneath the surface lies an enormous network rivaling the size of large cities. Is it possible that your electronic devices are listening to you? Modern smartphones and smart speakers such as Alexa and Google Home can indeed eavesdrop on conversations. Built-in microphones activate when the devices recognize a wake word to turn on. Although companies claim that such data is not saved, many users find that advertisements match their recent conversations, even if they haven't searched for it online. Imagine a hybrid of a cow and a bison. It's a beefalo. Yes, there exists a unique hybrid of a cow and a bison called a beefalo. These animals combine the traits of both cows and bison, and they are known for their impressive hardiness. Beefalos can be found in certain regions of the United States where they have become agricultural stars. They are bred as a more resilient alternative to traditional livestock, being better suited to harsh conditions. Imagine, you're on a stroll and come across this amazing creature that looks like a mix of the majesty of a wild bison and the domesticity of a cow. A true wonder of nature, brought to life by genetic experimentation. Brazil, the country with the greatest biodiversity. Brazil is home to 15 to 20% of all the world's biodiversity. It houses more than 120,000 species of invertebrates, about 9,000 species of vertebrates, and over 4,000 species of plants. Every year, around 700 new species of animals and plants are discovered in Brazil. This rich biodiversity is not only vital for ecology, but also holds immense potential for economic development and scientific discovery. Why do you think lightning can strike the same place multiple times? Contrary to popular belief, lightning can strike the same place multiple times. For example, the Empire State Building in New York is hit by up to 100 lightning bolts every year. This happens because tall buildings and structures attract electric discharges. The tops of these buildings are equipped with lightning rods to protect them from strikes, making multiple lightning strikes not just possible, but common. How far can a lion's roar be heard? The secret of the king of beasts. The lion rightly bears the title of king of beasts, and its roar is one of the most powerful sounds in the animal kingdom. A lion's roar can be heard up to 5 miles, 8 kilometers away, and it's almost as loud as thunder. This roar not only shows the lion's strength but also helps it hold its territory, scare off rivals, and communicate with other pride members. If you heard such a roar in the wild, you'd definitely know who's the boss. Why is Venus hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther from the sun? Despite Mercury being the closest planet to the sun, Venus holds the title of the hottest planet in our solar system. Its surface temperature reaches 460 degrees Celsius, or about 860 degrees Fahrenheit. This is all due to its dense atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide, which creates a powerful greenhouse effect, trapping heat. Venus's atmosphere acts like a giant blanket, making it resemble an inferno even though it's farther from the sun. The royal game of is the oldest board game, over 4,000 years old. This ancient game was discovered during excavations in Mesopotamia and dates back to around 2600 BCE. Played by 2 players on a 20-square board, the game involved strategic moves with pieces that maneuvered around obstacles. It had a major influence on the development of future board games, demonstrating the strategic thinking of ancient civilizations. Just imagine how deep-rooted our love for games really is. Did you know that in Dubai there is a heavy gold ATM? In Dubai you can find ATMs that dispense gold bars instead of regular money. These gold ATMs allow customers to purchase small bars of pure gold in various weights, from 1 gram to 2.5 kilograms. The gold is dispensed in beautiful gift packaging, and you can track the current price in real time. Dubai is famous for its luxurious landmarks, but being able to withdraw gold directly from an ATM is a true symbol of the city's extravagance. Did you know that the first frozen dinner was created in 1953? Imagine this. The frozen dinners we're so used to were once a culinary breakthrough. In 1953, Swanson introduced a frozen meal styled after a Thanksgiving dinner. This meal was in response to the need for quick meal preparation, and since then, frozen foods have become a staple of our diets. Today, the variety of frozen meals is staggering, from pizzas to exotic delicacies. Just think how a simple solution for leftover food turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry that has transformed our eating habits. The lonely giant, the saddest whale on the planet. Imagine a whale that sings at a frequency no one else can hear. This unique whale, dubbed the 52 Hertz whale, is known for singing at 52 Hertz, much higher than other whales. Because of this, it cannot communicate with other whales, and it is considered the loneliest whale in the world. Scientists and the public have followed this whale since the 1980s, and its solitary songs remain a mystery. Perhaps its story is more than just an anomaly. It could be a symbol of our own isolation in the modern world. Tiny plants, mighty power. Half of Earth's oxygen comes from the ocean. The oxygen we breathe is not only created by forests but also by tiny marine organisms like plankton, algae, and seaweed. These little factories produce more than half of the planet's oxygen through photosynthesis. Thanks to sunlight, they transform carbon dioxide into oxygen, which is vital for all living beings on Earth. This amazing fact reminds us of the importance of the oceans and their role in sustaining life on our planet. Amazingly, Norway has a special underwater restaurant. Norway has opened Europe's first underwater restaurant called Under. It is submerged 5 meters underwater, and through large panoramic windows, diners can observe the underwater world without leaving their table. The restaurant offers not only gourmet cuisine, but also the chance to watch fish and sea creatures swimming just meters away from you. This unique restaurant has become a major attraction for food lovers and nature enthusiasts alike. Did you know there are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth? Surprisingly, there are more stars in the universe than all the grains of sand on every beach on Earth. This cosmic fact highlights the unimaginable vastness of our universe. When you look at the night sky, there are billions and billions of stars, each potentially home to planets we know nothing about yet. Our place in the cosmos feels even more humbling when you realize that stars fill the space far beyond what we can even imagine. Italy, the country of UNESCO treasures. Italy holds the top spot in the world for the number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, an impressive 58 locations. These include famous landmarks like the Roman Colosseum and the stunning Amalfi Coast, but there are also hidden gems like the Dolomite Mountains that will take your breath away. Italy is a paradise for history lovers, art enthusiasts, and those seeking spectacular landscapes. Every corner of this country is steeped in culture and heritage, making it a must-visit destination for travelers and culture buffs alike. Have you ever thought about how bats are the only flying mammals? Their wings are unlike birds' wings. They are special membranes stretched between elongated fingers. This unique construction allows bats to perform complex aerial maneuvers while hunting insects. They also use echolocation to navigate in the dark, making them incredibly precise hunters. Bats play a vital role in ecosystems, eating vast numbers of insects and pollinating plants. Imagine a flight that lasts only 53 seconds. The shortest commercial flight in the world connects two Scottish islands, Westray and Papa Westray. This flight covers just 1.5 miles and lasts less than a minute, only 53 seconds. By the time you buckle your seatbelt, the plane is already preparing to land. It's probably the quickest and shortest way to travel that you can imagine. If you ever find yourself on this flight, you won't even notice its start and finish. Did you know there's a banana you shouldn't eat? In Hawaii, a unique type of banana called the plantain banana grows, which, despite its appetizing appearance, is not meant to be eaten. It tastes very bitter, somewhat like a potato. Locals use it for weaving traditional crafts rather than food. Tourists are often surprised by these bananas, but the locals are quick to warn, don't try eating them. What if I told you there are floating markets in some countries? In Thailand and Vietnam, you can find markets located right on the water. Traders sell fruits, vegetables, and souvenirs from small boats, creating an amazing and colorful scene. These markets are located along canals where people can literally paddle up to the goods they want. This unique tradition attracts tourists from all over the world, allowing them to immerse themselves in the local culture and trading atmosphere. Did you know that lightning is hotter than the sun? The temperature of lightning can reach up to 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This incredible natural phenomenon is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. When lightning strikes, it releases an enormous amount of energy in just a few milliseconds, heating the air around it to extreme temperatures. Lightning is truly nature's own flamethrower, bringing intense heat with every flash. Surprisingly, some snakes have vestigial legs. Yes, certain snake species like boas and pythons still possess tiny vestigial legs, called spurs, near their tails. These remnants are the evolutionary leftovers from when snakes' ancestors had fully formed limbs millions of years ago. Over time, as snakes adapted to a slithering lifestyle, they lost the need for legs. But these little spurs remain as a fascinating window into the ancient past of these reptiles. It's like carrying a little piece of history on their bodies, reminding us that evolution is full of surprises. The rarest zebra in the world, spots instead of stripes. In Kenya, an incredible zebra was once spotted with spots instead of the usual stripes. This rare phenomenon occurred due to a genetic mutation that literally transformed our understanding of what zebras look like. This unusual zebra attracted great attention from conservationists and biologists, as such deviations are rare and require special attention to preserve the species. It's not every day you see a zebra with spots instead of stripes. The accident that changed the world, the invention of the popsicle. Have you ever wondered how the popsicle was invented? It was pure accident. In 1905, an 11-year-old boy named Frank Epperson left a mixture of soda water and a stick outside overnight. The next morning, the mixture had frozen, and thus the first popsicle on a stick was accidentally invented. Years later, when Frank grew up, he began selling his frozen treat, which quickly became a hit. His children suggested naming it a popsicle, and the name stuck. That's how a simple mistake became a beloved dessert for millions around the world. Did you know the African elephant is the largest land animal on Earth? African elephants are true giants. These majestic creatures can weigh up to 14,000 pounds, about 6,350 kilograms. That's like a small car on 4 legs. These gentle giants are a symbol of nature's greatness, and their size is awe-inspiring. Can you believe it? Cows have best friends. Cows, beyond being valuable farm animals, are incredibly social creatures with rich emotional lives. They can form strong friendships with other cows, and if separated from their best friends, they can become stressed. Cows often spend time together, graze in pairs, and express their emotions through unique vocalizations. Their social bonds highlight that cows are not just animals providing milk, but they have their own emotional worlds that deserve recognition. Earth's gravity. Why isn't it the same everywhere? Have you ever wondered why gravity varies slightly in different places on Earth? It turns out this is due to many factors, such as altitude, the density of Earth's crust, and the distance from the equator. Gravity is stronger at the poles and in places with denser crust like mountain ranges, because these areas are closer to the Earth's center. Conversely, gravity is weaker at high altitudes, such as on top of Mount Everest and near the equator. These variations are caused by the distribution of mass on the planet and the fact that Earth is slightly flattened at the poles. This highlights the complexity and uniqueness of our gravitational field. Now you know, in some places on Earth you weigh a little more or less than in others. Can you imagine that the Beatles couldn't read music? One of the most influential bands in history, the Beatles, never learned to read sheet music. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr created their legendary melodies and songs purely by ear, relying on their musical intuition. Despite this, they gave the world hit after hit, forever changing the course of musical history. This fact breaks the stereotype that to create great music, one must be a professional musician who reads music. Their exceptional creative talent and improvisational ability prove that passion and talent matter more than technical skills. Surprisingly, there's a town in Norway where every house stands on stilts. In Rarest, Norway, almost all houses are built on wooden stilts. This ancient technique helps protect the buildings from moisture and snow. The historical center of the town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and today tourists come to see how ancient construction methods have remained relevant for centuries. This town stands as a living monument to how people adapted to the harsh conditions of the North. Did you know the term internet was first used in 1974? We all know the internet is an essential part of modern life, but did you know the first mention of the word was in 1974? At that time, internet was used to describe a global network of interconnected computer systems. Back then, it was a novelty, but by the end of the 20th century, the internet became a revolutionary technology that changed the world. Today, billions of people are connected online, and the internet has become not just a communication tool, but also a key platform for business, science, and education. Is it really possible that in Norway there is a tunnel where goats are herded every day? In Norway there is the unique Lærdal Tunnel, which is considered the longest road tunnel in the world, stretching more than 24 kilometers. But what's surprising is that every spring this tunnel is not only used by cars but also to herd goats. During migration, the animals cross the tunnel in search of pastures, and it has become a local tradition. Not only is it safer for the goats than mountain roads, but it also attracts tourists. How about this? In Italy, there is a village built on lava. In Italy, at the foot of Mount Etna, lies the village of Bronte, known for having some of its homes built directly on ancient lava flows. Volcanic eruptions often created layers of lava so solid that entire structures could be built on top. This unique feature has made Bronte famous worldwide. What's even more astonishing is that the locals are not afraid to live next to an active volcano, believing that the ancient lava protects their homes from new eruptions. Owls don't just see, they mesmerize. Owls don't have typical eyeballs. Instead, they have specialized tubular eyes. This unique adaptation allows them to keep their eyes fixed, giving them exceptional binocular vision and the ability to rotate their heads almost 270 degrees. Thanks to this, owls become masters of nighttime hunting, detecting even the slightest movements in complete darkness. Their eyes are more than just organs of sight. They are powerful tools that make them incredible hunters. And every time they turn their heads, it's like witnessing nature's magic in action. Believe it or not, licking your elbow is almost impossible. Have you ever tried to lick your elbow? Despite all attempts, most people simply can't do it. The reason lies in anatomy. The length of the arm and the position of the elbow make it impossible for the tongue to reach that point. Of course, there are rare exceptions. People with extraordinary flexibility might surprise their friends by succeeding. But for most of us, it's physically impossible no matter how hard you try. This fun fact is the perfect opportunity to test your abilities and see if you're anatomically unique. But be careful not to hurt yourself in the process. Who would have thought that you can see sounds through light? Sounds can not only be heard but also seen. Using special equipment like oscilloscopes, scientists can visualize sound waves, turning them into light pulses. These pulses take on different shapes depending on the frequency and intensity of the sound. The sight is incredible. High frequencies appear as fast, thin lines, while low ones as slow, broad patterns. Technology allows us to see music and sounds, adding a new dimension to how we perceive them. Did you know that Dr. Seuss invented the word nerd? The term nerd, used to describe someone passionate about knowledge and science, was first coined by Dr. Seuss in his book If I Ran the Zoo in 1950. This whimsical term quickly gained popularity and became a beloved label for those who are enthusiastic about learning and geek culture. Thanks to Dr. Seuss, nerd has evolved into a term of endearment for those who love to dive deep into the world of science and intellectual pursuits. Gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. Funny name or serious science? Who would have thought that one of the largest and most majestic animals on the planet bears such a funny scientific name? The western lowland gorilla is classified as gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. In biology, binomial nomenclature is used to classify species, and the repetition of the name here emphasizes the uniqueness of this particular subspecies. While it may sound amusing, for scientists, it's standard practice. Such naming helps to precisely identify species, avoiding confusion with other subspecies. So next time you see a gorilla, you can jokingly refer to its official scientific name. Can you believe that a tick can dine for up to 10 days? Ticks are true masters of long feasts. These tiny parasites can stay latched onto their host for up to 10 days, feeding without interruption. Imagine a dinner that lasts not just a few hours, but almost an entire week. The tick literally buries itself into the feast, slowly but surely enjoying its meal. While the host may not even realize that someone is indulging in their blood, the tick is having the time of its life. These little gourmets are so adapted to slow eating that they can store nutrients and feed on them for a long time. Though it sounds unpleasant to us, for ticks, it's a gourmet experience. If there were a competition for slow eating, ticks would surely be the champions. Why sloths are so slow? A metabolic mystery. Sloths are so slow that even their digestion can take weeks. They can take up to 30 days to digest a single leaf. This slow metabolism helps them survive in environments where food is scarce. Sloths live in the treetops of tropical forests, moving so slowly that algae grow on their fur, camouflaging them into their surroundings. This disguise helps protect them from predators like eagles and jaguars. Thanks to their laziness, they use very little energy, making them true masters of energy conservation in nature. Believe it or not, your brain generates about 70,000 thoughts a day. Imagine your brain as a factory of ideas working non-stop. Every day it generates around 70,000 thoughts. That means a new idea, memory, or decision is born in your head every few seconds. This incredible ability allows us to multitask and quickly adapt, processing thousands of decisions automatically. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by thoughts, remember, your brain's powerful thinking factory is in full operation. Did you know that beneath Amsterdam is a complex sewer system? In addition to the famous canals that cross Amsterdam, there is also an extensive network of underground canals built as early as the 16th century. This intricate sewer system not only keeps the city's canals clean but also prevents flooding. Staying true to tradition, Amsterdam conducts annual inspections to keep these old canals in working condition and to keep the city afloat. Can you believe that the electric chair was actually invented by a dentist? Believe it or not, The electric chair, one of the most infamous devices in history, was conceived by Alfred P. Southwick, a dentist. Southwick designed the electric chair in the late 19th century as a more humane alternative to hanging. This shocking invention forever changed the history of capital punishment. It's almost ironic to think that a person dedicated to caring for people's teeth would create such a grim device. It turns out that hippos secrete bloody sweat to protect themselves from the sun. Hippos' skin produces a special reddish liquid that acts as sunscreen and has antiseptic properties. This bloody sweat not only protects hippos from harmful UV rays, but also helps heal wounds. In the wild, this feature makes hippos true survival experts who have found an amazing way to shield themselves from the sun. Tick saliva is hundreds of times stronger than morphine. It sounds incredible, but tick saliva contains compounds with anesthetic properties that are hundreds of times stronger than morphine. These natural painkillers allow ticks to attach to their hosts without causing pain. This fact has attracted the attention of scientists who are now researching the potential of using these compounds in medicine to create new pain relief methods. Who would have thought that tiny parasites could hide such immense medical potential? Did you know that 2–3% of people don't need deodorant? Yes, it's true. About 2–3% of the population has a genetic mutation that prevents the production of unpleasant body odor associated with sweating. These people can engage in sports and physical activity without worrying about body odor. This happens because they lack the necessary bacteria that break down sweat and create unpleasant smells. This discovery sheds light on the diversity of human genetics and how we perceive body odors. Fold a piece of paper 42 times, and you'll reach the moon. Imagine this. If you could fold a piece of paper 42 times, it would become so thick that it could reach the moon. This incredible concept is tied to the exponential increase in the paper's thickness with each fold. Of course, in reality, it's almost impossible to fold a piece of paper more than 7 or 8 times due to its physical structure. But theoretically, it would work. This fun fact shows just how fascinating mathematics can be, and how difficult it is for physical objects to adhere to such theoretical rules. Try it yourself, and see how many times you can fold a piece of paper. Did you know a group of kangaroos is called a mob? Yes, that's true. A group of these fascinating animals is called a mob, and the name perfectly describes their social behavior. Kangaroos live in large groups, moving and foraging together. Their social structure is well coordinated, with each mob acting as a unit. This makes them unique not only biologically, but also behaviorally. Now, when you see a group of kangaroos, you can call them a mob and impress your friends with this fun fact. It's hard to believe, but there's a city in Italy with no streets. Venice, Italy is a city without traditional streets. There are only canals, and boats are the primary mode of transportation. Streets, as we know them, simply don't exist. Movement around the city is entirely water-based, making Venice unique among other cities in the world. Tourists travel by gondola or water taxi, enjoying the romantic atmosphere of this city on the water. Venice is one of those rare examples where the city has adapted to the constant presence of water. Why do Japanese coins have holes in the middle? 5 and 50 yen coins with holes in the center can be found all over Japan, and it's not just for unique design. Historically, the holes allowed people to easily thread the coins on a string to carry them like a necklace, making transactions simpler. But that's not the only reason. These coins are believed to bring good fortune. Today, they are considered lucky charms, and many Japanese still carry them as tokens of good luck. Did you know that some frogs can freeze solid and still survive? It turns out that certain frog species, like the wood frog, can completely freeze during winter and come back to life in the spring. These amazing amphibians can survive sub-zero temperatures by freezing almost entirely solid. Their hearts stop beating, they stop breathing, and their bodies turn rock hard. Yet when the weather warms up, they thaw and return to their usual lives, hopping around like nothing happened. Nature's cold storage system proves that frogs are some of the ultimate survivors. How did ancient Egyptians predict the flooding of the Nile? The ancient Egyptians believed that the flooding of the Nile depended on the position of the star Sirius in the sky. They watched for its rising, and knew that when Sirius appeared, the time of the flood was approaching, bringing fertility and wealth to their land. Sirius was so important to the ancient Egyptians that it was even associated with the goddess Isis. This star helped predict harvests and prevent famine, holding significance for thousands of years. Did you know that turtles can breathe through their butts? Yes, you heard that right. Turtles, especially species like the Fitzroy River turtle, can breathe through their cloaca, the opening they use for reproduction and waste excretion. This amazing ability helps turtles absorb oxygen from the water, allowing them to stay underwater for long periods. This process is called cloacal respiration, and it's yet another example of how unique and diverse survival methods are in the animal kingdom. So next time you see a turtle, remember that it's a true master of breathing from both ends. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it, but Venice still faces the threat of sinking, and the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. Did you know Venus spins backwards? Unlike most planets in our solar system, Venus rotates in the opposite direction, meaning the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Scientists are still unsure what caused this bizarre behavior, but one theory suggests that Venus may have collided with a massive asteroid long ago, altering its axis. And here's another mind-blowing fact. A day on Venus is actually longer than its year. Did you know your keyboard is dirtier than a toilet seat? It sounds awful, but your keyboard can be a real breeding ground for germs. Studies have shown that keyboards often contain more bacteria than toilet seats. Dust, food crumbs, and microbes accumulate on the keys over time. That's why regularly cleaning your keyboard isn't just a good habit, it's an important hygiene measure. A keyboard cleaner and wet wipes are your best friends in the battle against germs. Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. Honey Guide, the bird that will help you find honey if you share it. Imagine being lost in the African wilderness searching for food. In this case, you'd need one special bird, the honey guide. This unique bird species can literally talk to you and lead you to beehives. But there's a catch. When the honey guide helps you find honey, it expects you to share it. If you don't, the next time the bird may lead you not to honey, but to something dangerous, like a venomous snake. So it's better not to be greedy. This is an example of true partnership between humans and nature. How would you react if you found out that snails can sleep for up to 3 years? Some species of snails can enter a deep sleep called estivation to survive harsh conditions like extreme drought or lack of food. During this time, they slow down almost all their bodily functions and seal themselves inside their shells with a protective layer. This state of dormancy can last for up to 3 years, allowing them to wait out unfavorable conditions until the environment becomes more hospitable. It's like going to sleep and waking up years later, only to find that the world around you has changed completely. Can you believe a sloth can hold its breath for 40 minutes? Sloths, despite their slow movements, possess an extraordinary ability to hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. This physiological adaptation helps them survive in the treetops and protect themselves from predators, even allowing them to stay underwater for extended periods when crossing rivers. This unique skill, developed for life in the rainforest canopy, shows how evolution has crafted these creatures to perfectly match their environment. Sloths may be slow, but their adaptations are anything but ordinary. Caffeine. Energy or illusion? Caffeine is the most popular psychoactive substance in the world, but it doesn't actually give you energy. Instead, it blocks adenosine receptors in the brain, preventing them from signaling tiredness. It's a kind of trick that makes your brain feel alert and awake. What's even more fascinating is that caffeine's molecular structure is very similar to that of adenosine, allowing it to take the place of this neurotransmitter. This clever process helps us wake up in the morning and stay alert throughout the day. Now imagine it's all just a game of chemistry. Why can dung beetles navigate by the stars? These tiny creatures have a unique ability to use the stars as a compass. At night, they look at the Milky Way to always move in the right direction and stay on course. This is especially important when they transport their precious dung balls over long distances, as these provide them with both food and protection. Surprisingly, scientists have found that their eyes, while not highly developed, are sensitive to starlight. This celestial navigation helps them stay oriented even in the complete darkness of deserts and savannas. The origins of the word nurse date back to ancient times. The word nurse has its roots in Latin, where it originally meant to breastfeed. Over time, this word expanded its meaning to include those who care for the sick and help them recover. Today, when we call someone a nurse, we acknowledge their vital role in providing comfort and assistance. Nurses continue to embody the spirit of care, from their ancient origins in nurturing to their modern roles in the healing process. Is it true that Canada has mysterious singing sands? In Canada's Prince Edward Island National Park, there is a beach where the sand produces melodic sounds when walked upon. This phenomenon, known as singing sands, occurs due to friction between sand grains. This remarkable occurrence can only be heard on a few beaches in the world, and scientists are still unsure exactly why these sands sing. Did you know that medieval winemakers used tun as a measurement? In the Middle Ages, the term tun was a standard unit of measurement used to quantify wine. One tun referred to the volume of wine that could fill a large cask. This old unit of measurement was integral to the wine trade across Europe, shaping commerce and trade routes. Today, the term may seem outdated, but its legacy lives on in the language of winemakers and traders, reminding us of how ancient practices have shaped modern traditions. Who would have thought that polar bears have black skin? Yes, beneath their snowy white fur, polar bears actually have black skin. This may seem surprising, but nature designed these animals to have the best possible insulation for surviving in freezing environments. Their black skin helps them absorb more sunlight, while their hollow, transparent fur traps the sun's rays, creating a thermos effect. This incredible adaptation allows polar bears to stay warm in the extreme Arctic cold. Although their fur appears white, it merely reflects the surrounding light, making them almost invisible against the snow and ice. Amazing, but on Venus it rains sulfuric acid. Imagine a planet where it rains, but instead of water, drops of sulfuric acid fall from the sky. That's exactly what happens on Venus. In its atmosphere, clouds are composed of sulfuric acid, and when it rains, the drops evaporate before reaching the surface due to extremely high temperatures, which can reach up to 470 degrees Celsius. This is one of the reasons Venus is considered one of the most hostile planets for life in our solar system. If we ever explore Venus, this hellish atmosphere would be a serious challenge for future technology. Snails can sleep for up to 3 years. In the slow-moving world of creatures, snails are the undeniable champions. They have the astonishing ability to hibernate for up to 3 years. For some, it's not laziness, but rather an enviable skill of endurance and patience. You can only imagine the slow-paced dreams they must have over the years. And here we thought our weekend naps were impressive. Don't ever challenge a snail to a sleep-off. You're bound to lose in the most hilarious way possible.